and I'm your sewing teacher. I'm here this week to talk a little bit about alterations. The alterations that I'm going to show you this week is how to make a pair of pants a little bit smaller, a little bit more smaller, and a lot smaller. You see, I have a son who really enjoys nice, bright, vibrant pants. He has an aesthetic where he likes to be the most colorful person in the room. But finding pants like that are very difficult for him at this size. Although he is very tall, he is very slim. So one of the things that I have to do when I'm finding these crazy pants for him, or when he finds these crazy pants, is we have to take them in at the waist. Now, the first pair of pants you're going to see today only need to be taken in about 1.5 inches. The second pair needs to be taken in about 3 inches, and the last pair needs to be taken in about 5 inches. Thanks for joining. If this is the kind of content that you like, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If there are other alterations that you would like to see, please put it down below in the comments and I'll get to that video as soon as I can. So in the pant that has only 1 inch to take in, you'll notice that it already has an existing elastic in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the side seam where the elastic is. I'm going to pull that elastic out, and I'm going to take about 1 inch of elastic off of there in order for this to be 1 inch tighter. So I open up the seam, and then I'm going to pull out the elastic that's there, and that elastic, I'm going to grab it, okay, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to sew about the same distance as what I figured on the pant, and then that way I can just put it right back in, and then I can close the seam that I just opened, and then that's a super fast way to make that a tighter waistband. I'll be right back with that finished. So you'll see now that I have sewn it just in that 1 inch mark, so it's going to end up being about 1.5 inches tighter around the waist, which is perfect. And I'm not going to cut this off because he is going to get bigger around the waist and he will want to keep these pants. And so I'm going to just flip that back into the waistband, make sure that it lies flat in there so he doesn't have any bulking at the back. Okay, then I'm going to stretch that nice and flat, and then I'm going to sew right on top of where I just took off, and I'm going to reverse stitch that. Quick snip of a few threads, and that's the first one done. So these ones are now fixed up, and let me show you a picture of those on him. So the next pant had quite a bit of space that needed to be taken in. It was about 2 inches on one side and 2 inches on the other side. So what I've decided I'm going to do here is I'm going to undo the waistband right at the side seam, and I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to open up that side seam, and I'm going to go in at the side seam, and I'm going to take it in. So these pants, you'll see they're much smaller on the front seam than on the back. And because he's pretty much up and down and very skinny through the waist, I'm going to be able to take this down, and he's going to lose that curve in the pant, which is really perfect for him. Then I'm going to reattach the waistband And that's how I'm going to do this one, where there's about 2 inches on either side to remove. So I'm gonna have to pull up enough waistband that I can really kind of work with it. And I am gonna take the waistband in also, but not until I have the facing removed. Because I'm not just gonna take it in. I want them to look like they have been done properly. I certainly don't wanna just take in the side and then he has some awkward bulkiness there. So we are going to take it right in. We want to flip up the facing so that we can see all of the exposed seams in the pant. And then I'm going to find that side seam. And when I find that side seam, I am going to mark where I want to take it in all the way up. So through all of these seams, we're going to take this pant in all the way down. And then once you've done that on one side and you've gotten yourself all the way from the amount you take it off, all the way in the facing, all the way down into the waistband, then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side, and I want to make sure I'm matching it up so that I've taken the same amount off of both sides. So you can see here that I have taken in at the facing and the waistband, and it's sewn all the way down. And I've done the same on this side. So I've taken in the facing, I've taken in the waistband, and I've taken in all the way down the side. So now that I've done that, and you'll notice I still haven't even undone the rest of this waistline. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this facing back over, and I want to make sure that I'm going to lay this down inside that facing so that it's not bulky, because again, I want to be able to open these up for him so that he can wear them again later. I'm going to lay where I would like to sew over for the top stitching, and I'm going to pin that down. And I'm going to do the same a little bit further in. So that's been marked down, and now I'm going to do it again. There we go. So now I'm going to go from where it's top stitched here, and I'm going to follow that top stitching all the way across, and I'm going to reverse stitch at the front and the back to make sure that that keeps that down. And you'll see that this extra is just going to lay down nicely also. And I'm going to do the same for the other side, and I'll be right back. So I matched the thread to the green so that the top stitch would kind of be hidden in the ditch of the waistband. And you'll see that I have done alteration in black on the under thread. So the thread that shows is green and the thread that is on the inside of the pant is black. And I've done that so that I can go back and open this again and then take out all of my stitches, and then these can be worn when his waist is not as tiny. So I'm gonna have him try those on. Now the last pair needs a lot taken off. And I thought that the best way to do this so that I could show you, because it would have ended up with a very saggy drawer if I had taken care of it on the side, that I'm actually going to take in the whole back seam, and I'm going to start with it at the waist. Now you'll notice there are welted pockets here. It's very important that my welted pockets don't get cut off into the seam. So I have decided to cut so that there's still about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch on either side, or probably about 4 centimeters on either side of this seam, so that it looks normal. So about my finger width, I guess. So now I'm going to mark where I have put this pin desired. So now I'm going to open this up. Okay, so I can see where my pocket is, and I can see where my pocket is. So I think that by bringing it into here, I will still have enough space between the pockets to look pretty normal. But first I'm going to just undo this waistband. Going to bring the pant together like I did before, only this time I'm doing it at the crotch seam, and I am going to pull these together to where my pins meet, because I know that that's how far I want to go. Now you want to make sure that you're lying this flat so that both sides are flat before you pin. And I want to take the same amount all the way off, all the way into the inseam. So I'm going to pin all the way around, and I'm going to manipulate my pants so that they are flat. And I'll have to do the same when I'm at the machine to make sure that there are no creases or puckers when I am sewing this a bit smaller. Once you get to the mid seam, where the cross is, you're really close to your zipper here. So you want to gradually bring this into the zipper. So now I have this pinned all the way from the waistband and the facing all the way around that inseam of the bum, right into the crotch where it meets, right to the zipper. And we're going to take that in now. So you can see now how I've taken that whole bum seam in all the way down into the inseam where it meets. Then I'm going to take my pant and I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to put that facing back down, and then I'm going to sew it down But before I do that, I'm gonna put it on him because I wanna make sure that having this extra doesn't make him look like he's got something in his shorts. I'm going to cut that off if it does. So first thing I have to do is have him try that on. Now, when I put them back on him, they were still a little bit large because there was 5 inches that needed to come off, and I've only taken off about 3 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an elastic here at the back. Go ahead. And I'm going to sew the elastic in through the back so that it will keep it nice and snug for him and not too loose. Well, my friends, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to make alterations to pants depending on how much size you need to take in. There are 3 different techniques here, all of which work depending on your needs. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today. Don't forget, subscribe down below. A thumbs up will really help me get onto the algorithm so lots of other people can see my content. And always leave me a comment below. Let me know where you're from if you're new. And if you're not new and you're looking for videos and I don't have it, give me that video idea down below and I will add it to my book. I really appreciate all of my viewers and all of their ideas. Thanks so very much. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Sometimes it's my students, sometimes it's my children, sometimes it's my journey, but it's always your journey. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.